Spring is here. It means it's time to finish up all those projects that you started inside before tackling the projects you're about to start outside. And if you've been following along, you know that I'm working on my house. This is my kids' bathroom, which means there's gonna be a lot of water that gets splashed around. So it's very important that I waterproof the entire floor assembly as well as the walls. Starting with using a silicone-like product against the tub, and then I'm gonna run a waterproof band along my uncoupling membrane, along the walls, use waterproof band on all my water lines. Anything coming out of the floor, I'm gonna make sure it's watertight because I know my kids are gonna test it. And that means I get to go to RONA. And RONA gives you everything you need, from expert advice to all the right materials to get started with confidence. First, I have to cut out all my tiles. And right here, I am cutting the toilet flange out. I have to be very careful not to overcut, not to undercut, and also not to break the tile. Next step, I have to lay all the tiles down. This is called a dry lay. I wanna make sure all my cuts are perfect. That way, when I make a mix with thin set, I know that everything's ready to go. Now it's time to waterproof the bathroom. So here I'm laying down the waterproof bands on the uncoupling membrane, making sure everything is nice and watertight so when my kids splash around the bathroom, it's no longer an issue. So making sure I do all my corners, the band on the floor, as well as any water lines coming up through the floor. Here's a hot tip. If you want to waterproof your washroom, make sure you use a waterproof uncoupling membrane, waterproof band along the walls, and any pipes, any water lines sticking up near the tub vicinity, use a pipe seal around. This will waterproof around that pipe, making sure water doesn't get down after you tile. It's all about thinking ahead. Last thing before we tile, this seam where the uncoupling membrane meets, I'm gonna use a waterproof band over top. That way again, my floor assembly is watertight. Here's a really important tip. When you're tiling, you do not want to tile yourself into a corner. So what I have done here is I have laid it out so that I'm gonna tile this row first, then work my way out with the cuts along the side. Before you tile, get a bucket of clean water so you can clean your tools and any thin set that you get on your tiles along the way. Make sure you follow the thin set's instructions on the bag. Very crucial for not only warranty work if you're using a specific system, but also for making sure that your mix works within the time allotted that it says it's going to, and that it's going to have the bond strength. Time to tile. Now it's time to lay the actual tile. We want to make sure that we pre-fill the studs on the uncoupling membrane first before we trowel it out. Whenever you are tiling, you want to make sure you back butter your tiles, meaning I'm going to take some thin set here and I'm going to key the thin set into the back of the tile, and that is going to create a stronger bond to the thin set that I've troweled on the floor. Very important, clean your grout joints as you go. The last thing you want to do, especially with in-floor heating in here, is try and carve out the thin set in between the grout joints after you lay the tile. It's much easier when it's wet. At this point, we want to repeat the process. We want to make sure we back butter, set it carefully on our thin set, and make sure that we don't step on any tiles after we lay them. We also want to make sure that bond is complete, so we want to press down on our tiles after we've laid them. All of the bathroom floor tile is laid. Now all I have to do is stay off of it, let it cure overnight. Then I can remove all of those tile clips, scrape the grout lines, and I'm ready to grout.